Hey girls and gals, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I just finished my mid-month wrap-up for March. That's a lot of M's. That should be about 2 videos, I think, before this comes up because it is Thursday. I decided to do a Thursday to Thursday vlog for this weekly reading vlog, so not really a traditional calendar week, but it is what it is. It's almost 11 o'clock. I'm currently drinking an energy drink simply because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the first episode of that, comes out at around, I think it comes out at like 2 our time. I'd have to double check. I'm not sure. My partner's playing video games right now, so we're kind of just hanging out on our own until that comes out. We decided it would be fun to stay up and watch it like right as it releases. So that is my wild and crazy Thursday night. I don't know. It's not like the healthiest thing to do, but it's definitely one of the only things to do. You know, you gotta find things that you look forward to during almost a year of this whole quarantine. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm very much maybe looking forward to reading this week. I had some bummers. I've had some bummers this month, and you'll kind of see if you've already seen my mid-month wrap-up. I had 2 books that I really loved, a book that I really didn't care for, and a book that was just okay, just I wasn't the target audience for it, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I was expecting. I do figure it is worth mentioning in this vlog again, since I have talked about this book specifically multiple videos and multiple times since it was announced, and I was really looking forward to it. The Last Apothecary by Sarah Penner, unfortunately, is probably going to make it onto my list of most disappointing books this year. This book just really didn't work for me, unfortunately, for a lot of reasons, and I already filmed a wrap-up about it. I'm looking forward to getting rid of this book, honestly. I already talked about it in my wrap-up. I don't want to hark about a book that I really didn't like too much in this reading vlog. Don't want to start off on a bad note, but this is less about morally gray, ambiguous characters doing questionable moral things, and it is less about an apothecary with poisons as it is about does being a mother make you a real woman or not. Spoiler alert, the message that this book really conveys in a weird way is that you aren't a complete woman without having a kid, which is just gross. And ultimately, I just wanted more of like the apothecary things that were promised, more of the woman-owned poison shop that sells poison to women that men have abused. That was really interesting to me. I thought there would be some really deep and insightful conversations about those sort of topics, and there really weren't, which is unfortunate, but you win some, you lose some. I will say, I think the reviews on The Last Apothecary are pretty much hit or miss. There's not a lot of people who feel like middle of the road around this book, and I think this book could have just benefited from a different sort of marketing tactic, and I feel like the people who really loved this book would still really love this book had it been marketed as something else, and the people who didn't were kind of like me, who were really not expecting all the conversations about the things that were discussed in here. Again, you know, go watch my review if you want to hear more about it, but this was a bummer, and honestly that's the last book I've read, and it's really kind of put me in a reading slump just because it is uniquely disappointing to have one of your most anticipated books of the year just really not work out the way you're anticipating, and so I don't really know what I'm going to pick up next. I did mention in my last vlog that I wanted to read The Stand. I'm still trying to figure out though whether or not I did start the original edition. I'm debating on whether or not I want to switch to the extended edition and listen to it via audiobook, so that's still up in the air. So I'm thinking, what better way to get out of a reading slump caused by a book that really disappointed you than a book that is not going to disappoint you, right? So I have 2 options depending on my mood. I'm probably not going to start reading tonight, but start one of these books tomorrow. I either want to start The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. This is the 3rd book in the Bone Season series, one of my new favorite series. So I haven't read this before, but I have high expectations, and I haven't read a Samantha Shannon book that I haven't liked. So I'm thinking of either going for a new read and picking this one up. I feel like it's a fairly safe new book to pick up because I just feel like I am really going to enjoy it, or I'm going to reread Crescent City or House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, because I read this in April last year and really loved it, and it was one of my favorite books, and I think I mentioned this in my favorite books of 2020 video. I don't know if it was because this is my first Sarah J. Maas book that I had ever read, by the way, but I don't know if it was because I was really needing some escapism because we were at the very start of lockdown. I think it was one of those cases of right book at right moment times where this just really worked for me. I really loved this book, and I would love to reread it before the second book is supposed to come out in November, and it's 800 pages. I'd normally wait until closer to November to pick it up, but honestly, I've been wanting to reread this book pretty much since I read it for the first time. So I'm thinking one of these two books might be a good bet for me to get out of my little bit of a reading slump. I had the day off of work today and I have not read a single page, even though I normally do get most of my reading done on my days off of work. I was in such a slump over that disappointing book that the instant I finished it yesterday, I actually went downstairs and ranted about it to my partner. And I feel like anyone who is a reader can relate when a book is just either so good or so bad that you have to rant about it to someone who's never read the book, doesn't read a lot of books, doesn't really know really anything about what you're ranting about to them or raving about to them, but they just kind of sit there and accept your book loving self. That's really nice. So I ranted to him, I ranted to you guys, and now it's out of my system. But I haven't read today, so I'm gonna read tomorrow, and honestly I will probably leave it up to my partner to see which book that I read next, because he doesn't know anything about either of these books. Well, he knows that I love Samantha Shannon, he knows that I've loved this book before, so I'll probably let him decide which book I'm going to read next, just because I've narrowed it down to one of those for my next physical book. I just can't decide. That is honestly all I really have for this update. I am going home this weekend, so I'm not going to be vlogging a lot during the weekend, but I will during the week. I'm turning in my 2 weeks notice tomorrow, which is very nerve-wracking for me because we do have about 2.5 more weeks until we move, and I'm very nervous about it. I'm excited about it, but I am nervous about it, and I've just had not a really great experience with transferring jobs, not even transferring jobs, but just quitting jobs. I'm very anxious, and I've never really had a boss that has taken a 2 weeks notice that well. So I have that to look forward to tomorrow. I've actually had the notice written out. I was going to give a 3 weeks notice because I just anxiety and I keep putting it off, and now tomorrow's the last day until I actually have just 2 weeks, and yeah, have to do that tomorrow. Little bit anxious about it, but that is going to be like this intro clip. That's all I've got for right now. I will check back in with y'all tomorrow when I've actually picked out a book that I am going to be reading this week. Happy Friday, friends. I did stay up pretty late watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier last night. Went to bed around 4 and woke up. I tried to wake up at 10, turned my alarm off, set a new one for 11, turned my alarm off, and finally woke up around like 11:30, 11:45. If you're also a Marvel person that is watching these episodes right as they come out, are you a person who stays up to watch the episodes, or are you a person that wakes up early to watch the episodes? Because I feel like there are two types of Marvel fans right now when it comes to their weekly series. So not much has ultimately happened since I last talked to you, but I did decide on the book that I'm going to be reading next, and that is going to be The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. I'm holding it up to the end papers so it doesn't completely like white out the screen because it's a very blinding white book, but I'm very much looking forward to read that. I'm probably not going to start it until after work. Actually, there was a situation, I was almost called off work today, and then someone else called off, so my shift got rescheduled, and I was very nervous about that because, like I mentioned before, I'm turning in my 2 weeks notice today, and I need to turn it in today. So I'm glad that I'm working. I'm still nervous about it. And I'm very friendly with my boss. We've done things outside of work before, so in some ways it makes it easier, some ways it makes it harder, definitely just because, you know, there's that level of this is strictly not personal, we're just moving. It's rough, and I'm nervous about it. Anxiety problems. But yeah, other than that, don't have too much to update on. I'm definitely looking forward to reading The Song Rising. I think this is the shortest book in the series that's come out so far, and I have a feeling, just based on what I've been hearing about the fourth book and what I already know about the second book and how that ends, I feel like it's going to be a very fast-paced ride, so I am looking forward to reading that one. I'm getting ready to go to work right now. After work, my partner and I have to decide whether we're driving home, or rather to our family's homes tonight or for tomorrow morning just to see everyone again. Unfortunately, with the move, we are 2 hours away from each of our respective families at the moment, and then when we move, we're going to be 10 hours away from them, which is disappointing because obviously we didn't get to see our families as much over this last year of 2020, and now when things are becoming more safe slowly but surely, it kind of sucks that we are moving pretty much across the country. So that's unfortunate, but that is really all I have for you guys. If you're wondering what this stack of books are or where I am, this is actually the room that I get the best sunlight in, and it's our office, hence like my partner's whiteboard for sciencey things. But yeah, these are all the books that I'm getting rid of. I don't know if I'm going to do a dedicated unhaul video. Do people like those? Let me know down below if you'd want to see one. Otherwise, I'll probably just include it in a vlog. No shade to most of these books. I just didn't like them, or they're books where I thought they were okay. I'm just never going to read them again. Trying to make everything a lot easier for me during my move. But that's going to be it for this update, and I will talk to you all later. Hello. So it is now Tuesday night. I haven't updated since Friday, but I did get some reading done. Went home this weekend, spent some time with my family. I got to catch one of my brother's soccer games, which was really exciting because he only has a limited number in his club team before he graduates and goes off to college. We got back late Sunday, and then Monday we really spent, well, I worked, my partner worked, and then we planned out a trip to actually drive down to Arkansas, where we're moving, and neither of us have ever been there before, and we do know some people in the program and my partner's advisor and mentor throughout his program, so we're going down there this weekend, which hopefully should be fun. We're going to get a lay of the land, explore some different neighborhoods, look for different places. We're unsure right now whether we're going to attempt to buy a house, potentially rent a house. We're in a townhome right now. We'd love to stay at this size or a little bit bigger. We've got a 2-bedroom townhome right now. So yeah, we've been planning that trip. We're going down, we're leaving, I think we're gonna be leaving Saturday and coming back on Monday or Tuesday. So looking forward to that, but it's just been a busy couple of days. Moving on from that into some reading updates. I did finish Clown in a Cornfield this weekend, listened to it on audiobook. This was a whole lot of fun. It is a very much like the title suggests. It is a fun slasher book, and I say fun because it's in the way that a Friday the 13th movie feels. It's a little bit cheesy, follows teenagers making some not so great decisions, and it just follows a group of teenagers in this small town. It has some clowns in it. It's a very fun slasher that really does feel like a slasher movie, so I enjoyed it. It's definitely more of a plot-driven story than a character-driven story, but that's the point of this. It feels very much like a book kind of written in odes to classic slasher films, so I really enjoyed that. And then I'm almost halfway through The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, the third book in the Bone Season series. Yeah, I would say I'm 45%-ish of the way through this one, and I am enjoying this. I'm holding the orange up because otherwise it's just going to be very blindingly white. I am enjoying this one. I don't think it's going to be my favorite installation in the series. In a lot of ways, you can tell that this has been snipped down a little bit, and Samantha Shannon is actually really, really cool about talking to her fans and followers, like through Instagram. Like, she'll often leave a question box in her stories and people can ask her questions. And a question that I do see like fairly frequently is there any reason why the song Rising is so much shorter compared to the first? Actually, I don't know about the first, but definitely the second and the fourth book are very chunky. And we also know just from Priory of the Orange Tree and the unreleased secret project that she's been working on for like the past year or so, she writes some chunky books. So this one does feel very, very short in comparison, and just a little bit differently paced than I'm used to from a Samantha Shannon book. And I believe she said in this one she was still working with a YA editor that was definitely trying to keep her books more on the YA pace. And, you know, especially for someone who does read like a lot of YA and a lot of adult fantasy kind of interchangeably, but there are definitely differences in pacing between the two of YA and adult fantasy. So this does in part feel a little bit trimmed down. The action is happening very, very fast, and you know, it is a 7-book series. It does kind of feel like a kind of bridging book between the first and second book, really setting up the world and the conflict. And then this one I feel like is just kind of setting up even more for what like the end game conflict is going to be. But I am really enjoying it. I just have noticed that it is very speedy, and not in a bad way. It's very, very readable, and I'm highly enjoying it. But I was just not anticipating to be flying through this one so fast. And then to realize that when I am almost halfway through, I'm only on page like 130 or something, which is very shocking for a Samantha Shannon book. But I'm hoping to finish that this week because I'm really enjoying it, and I really want to hop into the 4th book, and then I'm all caught up on the series, and hopefully there won't be as long of a wait between the 4th book and the 5th one. Actually, I think I saw on her Instagram stories today that she just started plotting out the 5th book, so very excited for that. Those are my reading updates. I do have like a little bit of a mail update. It's not book related, so I don't know if anyone is interested, but I did get a knife, and I got this just because in my state currently that I'm in right now, you can't actually carry pepper spray or anything like that. And I've had like those cat claws for a while that like fit onto your keychain, and you can wear them when you're walking to and from your destination, from your car to your destination, because being a woman is so great when we have to worry about men murdering us pretty much anytime we go outside alone. So yeah, I've had that for a while, and then a page that I followed on Instagram actually shouted out this small business, and I will leave their information down below. It is small POC woman owned, and it is really cool. Like, the knives are very, very gorgeous. It's Meow Defense Shop. It's not book related, but it was some fun mail that I've been looking forward to for a while, and I actually did buy a knife for my sister as well because she's at college. So yeah, that's gonna be my update for today. It's been all over the place. We've been talking about moving, we've been talking about books, we've been talking about knives. Yeah, definitely check the description bar for this week's vlog because there's definitely going to be a lot of information in there for y'all. So I am actually going to go. I'm gonna take a bath and then get ready for work because I do work tomorrow, I think, unless I get called off. Oh, that's another thing. I did turn in my 2 weeks notice and it went well in the moment, but they did definitely cut my hours for the last 2 weeks, which I absolutely hate because employers will make you give a 2 weeks notice, or they'll, you know, often deem you unrehireable, or, you know, they won't be a really good reference for you. But then if you give them the 2 weeks notice, they'll often take you off the schedule like far before you're wanting to. So that's really great. So I don't know if I work tomorrow or not. I might get my shift cut. We will have to see. But either way, I'm looking forward to doing some more reading tonight, and then hopefully, again, like I mentioned, finishing the Song Rising. And now that I say that, I love this series, but I'm still very new to it and I keep getting the titles mixed up. So I hope I said that at the beginning of this update, but the Song Rising is the one that I'm reading. I might have said the mime order, I'm not too sure, but the Song Rising is the book that I'm reading, and I think I can finish this within the next day or so, and then I'm not really sure what I am going to pick up next. But yeah, I will talk to y'all in another update soon. Happy Friday. It is officially time to wrap up this weekly reading vlog. I did get a little bit of reading done. I didn't read as many books as I normally do during a week, but the quality of my reading was really, really good. So I'm okay with that. I did already talk about, I started off this week finishing Clown in a Cornfield by Cesare, which was a plot-driven YA horror slasher novel, which was a lot of fun. I did listen to the audiobook and that was really a good production as well. And then as you can see from the book behind me, I also did finish The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, the third book in the Bone Season series, and I did really enjoy this one. I will say the first half and the second half of this one are very different in tone and what you think is going to happen, but then somewhere around the halfway mark, it turns into something else, really expands the world, the conflict, the stakes, and I really enjoyed it. I'm very glad I picked it up this week. It was the perfect book to help get me out of like a danger of a reading slump. I wasn't necessarily in a reading slump, but I was in danger of falling into one if I didn't pick like the perfect right book to help bring me out of it, and this absolutely did it for me. I'm very excited to read the fourth book next month, and based on reception to the fourth book and just how the stakes get a little bit higher in each subsequent book in this series, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous for the fourth book because this really, the ending was very dark, and it did deal with a lot of things that I think are definitely going to be felt in the fourth book, just in terms of emotional development and character work, as well as plot and everything that's going on. So I'm very intrigued to dive into that one, see what Paige and her friends are up to next, what is happening. There were a lot of revelations in the end of this book that I'm very intrigued to see follow through throughout the rest of the series. I did pick up one other book this week. I started it last night and I'm really not far enough into it to really give any sort of detailed thoughts about it, but I did start In the Quick by Kate Hope Day, and this is, I believe, a character-driven sci-fi novel. It came out earlier this year in March, I want to say. I've been really looking forward to this one. I'm listening to the audiobook on Libby, and I haven't actually heard anyone that I kind of watch on BookTube or follow like their Bookstagram reviews talk about this one yet, so I'm really going into it blind with no expectations whatsoever or really any idea of what to expect from this story. And when I said I started it last night, I did only get about 35 minutes into it, so that's definitely not long at all for an audiobook. So definitely check back for next week's reading vlog to kind of see more how I feel about that one. But that is going to be it for this weekly reading vlog. I'm very excited about it because this weekend we're going down to Arkansas and kind of trying to find hopefully a place to live. I mean, that's the goal, right? But figure out more about neighborhoods, where we want to try and find a townhome or a house or an apartment, anything like that, to get a lay of the land. So we're very excited for that. That'll be in next week's vlog. But if you liked this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe for more content from me. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!